Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today I want to talk to you about my faith planners. I had several people that left messages that asked if I could update on how I am using my faith planners, how they're working out for me. So I thought I would kind of walk you through what my normal daily routine is, my weekly routine is with these faith planners, just so you could see how they are functioning in my life. So if you're interested, stay tuned for that. I will link everything down below so you can check all of the things that I use. You can check those out in the description box. All right, let's go. Okay, let's start out with this faith planner. This is a big sized faith planner from the Happy Planner designed by Spoonful of Faith. And this is how my day begins in my quiet time is I come to my big faith planner and I start with just some scripture writing. So I am using the Print, Pray, Slay scripture writing program for the year. They have a few different plans that you can follow. And so I have mine all set up for the whole year. You get some fun printables, and then you can see that I added some extra things over there, things I'm praying for, kind of a running prayer list and things like that. So my quiet time begins with journaling or writing out the scripture, reflecting on it, just so I can get my brain in the mode and ready to study scripture. So that's what I do. I write it on the monthly layout. After I do that, then I turn to my reading plan. I am doing a Bible in a Year reading plan that I am using through the YouVersion Bible app. I will link it below, and it involves a little bit of Psalms and Proverbs, New Testament and Old Testament every day. And I'm really enjoying it so far. It has all of that, and then it has a devotional that kind of ties all of those sections together, which I really appreciate. So what I do is I come in, I turn on my phone, get my phone on for the Bible reading plan, and the first thing I do is write out the different scriptures that I am planning on studying that day. Then I put my phone down and I read those scriptures in my actual Bible so I can study them, not from my phone. So I read in my Bible, then I go back and read the devotional that goes along with the day. And you can see in these areas, I'm just taking notes every day on what I have studied, on things that jumped out at me. There's no real rules about what you write in that area because scripture is going to speak to you in different ways. So some days I had a lot, some you can see right here, some days there were some extra room. So it kind of just depends. So that's what I do. I read the devotional, and then I write notes down on every day. So that is how I start my day with my scripture reading. And then I go into my other faith planner. This is a classic sized faith planner, and this is the one that I take with me to and from church and things like that. This cover I purchased from Zulily last year. I don't think the Happy Planner sells these covers anymore, but sometimes you can buy them secondhand, or you can check out Zulily to see if there are any available. So I have this cover, and this is my classic size faith planner. So after I've done my scripture study, then I turn to here, and in here I have a scripture writing plan from the Beloved Society. So this is through Illustrated Faith, and for every week of the year, there is one card like this that lists one verse. And then the idea is that you will study that verse throughout the week and memorize it. And so I thought that was an interesting concept. It's something I hadn't ever really tried to do. And so I'm using this faith planner to help keep me organized for that. And let me show you what I mean. So I made this bookmark. I bought this bookmark and then added some labels on it. So I go through the 7 days of the week and I do some different activities with the scripture so I can relate to it and kind of bring it in, if that makes sense, like really make sure I'm understanding it and trying to memorize it. So the first day I simply write out the scripture, then I pray the scripture, which is a different technique, but it's using the scripture to pray to God. On the third day, I write a different translation of the scripture. On the fourth day, I come through and I write the first letter of each word down in a column, and you can see sometimes I do it over and over again as I'm trying to memorize the scripture going through. On the fifth day, so on Fridays, I write it in a third translation. So I have the translation given on the card, then generally I write it in the NIV translation, and then generally I write it in the Message translation just because it's a different take. On the sixth day, on Saturday, I read the whole chapter that scripture is found in. So it's highlighting one verse. I take time to read the whole chapter and then take notes on the context of that scripture and why it makes sense and what it means. And then on Sundays, I try to write the scripture without looking at it at all. So that's how I keep this organized. You can see it's not a lot of decoration in this part. It's just some washi tape covering up lines, and then I put the cards down. I don't take a ton of time to decorate it because this is mainly just to keep me accountable to learning these scriptures. And I've gone ahead and set it up for the first few months of the year. I don't use the monthly spread in this one at all. Just haven't found a purpose for it that doesn't overlap with something else I'm already doing. So that is how I'm using my classic sized faith planner. After I do my scripture memorization, the last thing I do in my quiet time is come to my prayer journal. So this is my prayer journal section. I flip right to where I have prayers, and this is just some journaling paper. This is the Marble Faith line. You can use any filler paper right here, and I just journal. And you can see I just journal every day, a letter to God, a prayer to God, and that is what I do, and that's how I end my morning quiet time. So that's how I bring it through the morning. Things that happen during the week. This section is called disciplines. This is one I haven't gotten into very much this year, except to set up a new study from Kelly Bangs called Peace Over Anxiety. It was illustrated by Kelly, written by Justina Nadelson. And I have a video about this, how I set it up. I haven't jumped into the study yet, but I did set it up so that I could have room for notes as I go through the different units of this particular study. So I'm excited about that. And then I have some pages in here that help me kind of reflect over a week on things that I am focusing my heart on, things that God is doing in my life. So I have these here. I haven't gotten into them very much this year at all, but it's something I used in 2021. So I know that there will be times when I want to come back, and this kind of helps me refocus when I feel like I'm just kind of going through the motions in my faith life. This kind of gives me a little bit more intention behind it. Then, like I said, every week I take this to church with me. This is where I keep sermon notes. My church provides outlines and questions and quotes, so I always print those out like this. And then I have pages where I take notes during the actual sermon because it helps me just stay engaged more than when I'm just listening. I was always like that as a student. I prefer to take notes while I'm listening just because it kind of makes it hit home a little bit more for me. So that is where I keep sermon notes. So I just have some extra filler paper right there. And then the last section I keep in here would be my power verses. These are sheets that I create with different verses that I come back to over and over again. And these are decorative sheets, ones I want to keep, and then I'll transfer from faith journal to faith journal that I'm really, really enjoying and wanting to study just a bit more. So that is what I am keeping in my faith planner, my classic size. I have a pocket here at the back for anything that I might need to keep. And that's just a little update on how I'm using my faith planners. You can see some are decorative, some parts of it are not decorated at all. They are just there for writing and studying. And I kind of go back and forth on what I'm using to decorate and things like that. But I'm really enjoying the system. It works really well for me. Using the two faith planners helps to keep me accountable as I study the Bible through the year, as I do some different projects in my faith or go on some different journeys. Then I'm able to keep track of that in here and able to focus. And for some reason, the planning aspect has really helped me just engage even more. So anything that helps me do that, I think, is a big win. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions or comments or anything like that on how my faith planning is working or how you are doing your personal faith planning. I'd love to hear it in the comments below. Like I said earlier, I will link the different supplies I use to put together these faith planners. I will link those in the description box so you can check them out if you are interested. These are dated faith planners that started in January 2022. They're also undated versions that you can buy so that you can start at any time. And it's still the beginning of the year. Even if you're just now seeing this and you're like, that's something I'm interested in, go ahead and buy a 2022 planner. A lot of times you're going to find them on sale and you'll be able to pick one up and still give faith planning a try. I want to give a huge shout out to all of my Scrappy patrons over on Patreon. Thank you so much for all of your support. You guys are the best. Otherwise, I hope all of you have a fabulous day. And as always, keep it creative.